Hi, this is a quick overview of Seesaw, and it's important to know that Seesaw is really two different tools, and that helps you understand what this does. So the first thing Seesaw is, if we look under here under the journal, is a student portfolio, and we see that under the add button on posting student work. This is where you can use Seesaw to archive past student work, so you can submit things and the students can submit things. The next tab, activities, is assigning activities like lessons to kids. And the third is sending messages to kids in inbox here. So if you're using Seesaw in a lower school environment where the students don't have email, you got to think of it as by sending announcements. That's like kind of sending them email in this like protected network. It's given that kids don't have traditional messages. Now, journal, the first one, posting student work, unless you're planning on creating a student portfolio, there's no reason that you would use that tool unless you're using it for creating a portfolio. So for cases like using this as a virtual classroom, you're largely going to be living out of the activities, which is assigning activities. So I'm going to go over to the activities tab. You see here, I have this activity where I've written instructions and I've recorded a little video, and there's a little place where the students can like turn in the response. Okay, so let's do one together so you see what that looks like. So I'm going to click on Add Activity. I'm going to assign activity. When I do that, it's going to take me to my library. So if you see here, there's a tab of community, free lessons, school shared lessons, and then my library is like my Seesaw version of Google Drive, where I can create all my activities. And here's a little tip: I can create my activities in advance and not yet assign them. So I can so I'm going to click Create an Activity. And let's say this activity is we're going to read aloud chapter 1 and add response on what Andrea should do next. Okay, so that's the title, so I can write the instructions there. Now, Seesaw, most of the time if you're using Seesaw, you're using those younger kids. So younger kids, it's great if I go down to the multimedia instructions, I'm going to do a video instructions edit. So I'm going to click video, okay, and I'll record this video of, this is like my mini lesson. So you can use this to record, are you reading a book or whatever your lesson is. In the case here, hi, today we're going to read Miss Tracy is Spacey chapter 1, and then I want you to click add response and tell us what you think Andrea should do next. So that's example. And we'll click done, then we'll click done. So I have my video instructions, I have my written instructions. Now the last thing here, add template. Add template are files like worksheets that you want students to annotate over in Seesaw. And then be sure to click save. And then I have my activity. So watch here, if I go back to my library here, I have this activity, it's all ready to go. Kids won't see it until I assign it to that class. So then when I'm ready to assign the activity, I click assign, and I click the class I want to assign it to, and it's been assigned. Now watch what I also can do. Let's click on this assignment here. I can click on this, I can click here, I can click schedule, and I can have it scheduled to be pushed out on a specific date. That's a useful feature. Student view doesn't look very different from teacher view. Click add response in activities, not in the journal tab. And then you can add photos, drawings, videos, and upload. It's a lot easier to use the free mobile app when doing this. If you add a handout worksheet, whether it be a PDF or image, students can annotate on it. So these annotation tools are in fact available both for teachers and students. So you could use these same tools to annotate work to get feedback back to kids. You can type on it. You could also add voiceover tracks or video tracks to have students explain their work. Very useful for younger kids. Use these same recording tools to give feedback to kids. How to set up Seesaw for an elementary school classroom. Upper left corner, click Create Classroom. If you have a Google Classroom, you can import directly from there, but for elementary school, often you'll have to create a classroom from scratch. Click the checkbox when you're done. Now you have a class. Now you need to go to your gearbox in the upper right to set up your students. Make sure to change the setting for sign-in to class code 101 devices. Class code 101 devices, not email when you're using it with elementary school kids who don't usually have email. Go back, and now let's add our kids. So we're going to go to Manage Students, and then we'll do Student Lookup. This is kind of odd, but you do Student Lookup, and you're going to look up a student that you haven't added yet, and then it'll ask you, do you want to create a new student with this name? So I'll type in the name again, create a student, and it'll ask if the student already exists. Likely it does not. Done. Let's try this again. I'm going to add another student. Student lookup, even though it doesn't exist yet, add in the full name of the student, create student. And here I have all my students. Now I go to home codes. So there's a link called home learning codes, and I can print them. And then now I have a code that I can hand to the families so that when they download Seesaw, they can log in with this QR code and it'll take them to their account. No email, nothing else needed. Now that your class is set up, it's always worth going back to the wrench and settings to fine-tune your preferences. One of the most common preferences to set is deciding whether or not you want students to see each other's work. A lot of times teachers do not, so you can click that off and confirm the change.